Welcome to Northern Kentucky Magazine on this Friday, March 12th. I'm Patrick Crowley. Thanks a lot for joining us. I want to talk a little sports before we talk about today's show. First of all, last night, UC, I'm not a huge UC fan, but they had a rough season. They got a little fire in the tournament. They beat Rutgers. They beat Louisville. They were beating West Virginia last night, which, of course, is coached by Bob Huggins. Eric's nodding his head, a former coach at UC. UC had a chance to win it, and West Virginia hit a shot at the buzzer to knock UC out. So it was a heck of a game. Big East tournament is interesting because the top three of the top four seeds already out. Syracuse, Pittsburgh, and who are we talking about? Villanova, already out. So UC had a real good chance to make a run and possibly get in the tournament. Doesn't look like they're going to get in the tournament. Syracuse being knocked out is good for my Buckeyes because if my Buckeyes win the Big Ten tournament Sunday up in Indianapolis, they'll be a #1 seed. Exactly right, Eric. So I think my son Connor and I, if the Bucks are in the championship game, we're going to drive up to Indy Sunday morning, buy a little scalp tickets, and go see the Buckeyes play. So my business partner, Jay Fawcett, I just talked to him a couple minutes ago. He just hit Louisville. He's on his way to the SEC tournament to watch UK play. He's a UK grad and a UK fan, so be a big day. And Mike Apgar, my buddy over at SD1, big Xavier fan, they play tonight at 6:30. I tell you, it's been a great season. It's been the conference tournaments have been great. Gonzaga got knocked out. I think Texas got beat last night. They were getting beat by Baylor. So I tell you what, Eric, they call it madness for a reason. I love this time of year. Also, for baseball fans, we're getting ready for the baseball season to start. There's people who start camping out this morning for tickets, for opening day tickets on Fountain Square. Cincinnati's always still going to be a baseball town. Paul Doherty has a great column in the Inquirer today. This is the 20th anniversary of the wire-to-wire team, the 1990 World Series team, and he does an interview. Did an interview with Billy Hatcher and Eric Davis. And I tell you what, hard to believe 20 years ago, but that was a great team. Still, the only team to go wire-to-wire. First place from start of the season all the way through the end. They beat Pittsburgh, and they kicked the A's' butts, and I loved it because I hate the A's when the A's beat the Reds back in '72. So. Talking some sports today. Speaking about those old Cincinnati nostalgia, when I was growing up and in high school, I loved Bob Shreve. If you remember Bob Shreve, to me, he's part of the genre of Dick Von Hayne, of Bob Braun, of Paul Dixon, of great live Cincinnati television. And a couple years ago, Jeff Kidwell, who's a friend of mine, he runs the Campbell County Republican Party, and he's actually revolutionized that party and really changed a lot of tactics and used a lot of technology and volunteers door to door, does a great job with the party. I forget how we start talking about it, but he is a Bob Shreve freak. And we've been trying to get him on the show for a couple years, and today he's on with a couple guys who actually worked on that show, Howard E. Martin Jr., I think I got that right, Howard, and Larry Holt. And we have some great clips. We're going to tell some great stories. We're going to do 3 segments, half the show with these guys, and I am really looking forward to it. I think some of the younger people are going to find Bob Shreve kind of corny. I absolutely loved it because it was on, when I was in high school, it was on at 1 a.m., and that's when I think my curfew was, Chris, if I wasn't sneaking out. And I would come in, and my buddy Mike Gill and I would watch it every Saturday night, and I'm just so glad that Jeff did this. So he also did a lot of editing, worked with Dan Williams, who we put together some great montages today. And in the tradition of Northern Kentucky Magazine, we have some great live music today from Veronica Grimm. She's a great singer and a lovely young lady, very nice. And she's with her guitarist, Jimmy James Nielsen, who's going to tell us all about Hell in a Handbasket. So you got to stick around for that to find out what that's all about. But they're really nice people and great musicians. They're playing at the Southgate House on March 17th. I think that's what she said, St. Patrick's Day. So we'll talk to Veronica and Jimmy, too. So let's take a look at the weather now. It's warm out there today. It's going to be 64 today. We're going to see some rain, actually a high of 66. Some rain tonight and a low of 43, and then some more rain tomorrow. But it's 50, not 30, so if it rains a little bit, no big deal. For the weekend forecast, tune into Insight Channel 30, which is the weather channel. The people waiting for tickets down at Fountain Square are going to get a little bit wet. And if they want to stay dry, they can take the tank around this month. The Google Trip Planner on tankbus.org. You can type in your beginning address, the ending address, and the date and time you want to travel, and you'll get specific and easy instructions for your bus ride. Very cool. www.tankbus.org. We're going to take a break. Stick around for some live music from Veronica Grimm and Jimmy James Nielsen. We'll be right back.
The studios of WKRC-TV, high atop beautiful Mount Auburn in the Queen City of Cincinnati, on the banks of the mighty Ohio, in the greater Miami Valley, it's TV 12's Past Prime Playhouse. you'll capture the glitter, the glamour, the size, the cries, the laughs, and the cheers of the stars, stars, stars. What a night. Oh, what a night. Let every Saturday night be a Hollywood premiere for you and the stars on TV 12's Past Prime Playhouse. And now, your master of ceremonies, Bob Shreve.
That is a great piece of Cincinnati lore. Bob Shreve, Past Prime Playhouse. We're going to talk about that for the next 3 segments. It's a part of my growing up that I just want to thank so much. Jeff Kidwell for Newport, computer and store owner, Star Computer in Newport, also chairman of the Campbell County Republican Party, and an absolute freak over Bob Shreve. Yes, we're going to talk about that in a minute. And we are so pleased to have 2 members of the crew that worked on the Past Prime Playhouse, Howard E. Martin Jr. and Larry Holt. Larry, Howard, thanks a lot for coming on.
Thank you.
I want to talk to Jeff about your obsession with this, because I have the same kind and I absolutely love it. But I want to talk to you guys. We're going to get into a lot of clips and a lot of promos. And what was it like working on that show? What are your memories of that? What kind of guy was Bob Shreve?
Bob Shreve was a fun guy, and we enjoyed, just being around him half the time, whether we were on the show or off the show.
Right. Was it crazy? I mean, it looked like it was a lot of fun.
Well, it seemed like it was crazy, but it was only crazy to those who didn't know us.
Right. What did you do there, Howard? What was your job?
I was engineering.
How long did you work with them?
I worked Channel 12 from 1971 to 2004.
When there was, at least in the early years, there was a lot of live programming like
Oh,
Shreve.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
How many did you work? Past Prime Playhouse ran from where, Jeff? 75 to 85?
Right.
But he also had, Larry, he had some earlier shows as well. Is that right?
He was on the air at Channel 5 with Shaneline Bob's All Night Theater.
Right.
And then he was on the air before that at Channel 9 with an all-night movie. I think that might have been with Shaneline as well. And then before that, he was doing afternoon kid shows.
Yeah.
And I think one of the reasons why so many people of our generation enjoyed him so late at night was because we were watching basically the same show that he did as a kid show, only at 1:30 in the morning, with the help of other things to make it even more entertaining.
You know, when you were talking, my dad was a big Bob Shreve fan, and he swore that Bob was drinking during the show, but that wasn't the case. It just, he looked like it or acted like it.
Not to my knowledge. Now, I never was actually a member of the crew. I would get pulled in for weird stuff by the director, who, by the way, the guy's name was Ray Tipton, and then later Phil Smith. Those 2 guys were the guys who really made all of the craziness with Bob happen, so that by the time you got on the air, you had some of these other things for Bob to play off of. So we need to give them a mention. But no, he never. As far as I know, he never was drinking. He was very, very nervous, though. You would never think that he would be, but before the camera went on, he was like jumping out of his skin.
My dad told me he was, I think it was when Frank Robinson won MVP, and or maybe it was one of the Reds won MVP. There was a banquet in downtown Cincinnati. You could buy a ticket to it, and my dad went to it, and he got there early, was having a drink in the bar, and Bob Shreve came in and stood next to him, and they talked for about a half an hour and just said what a super nice guy he was. Jeff, how did you? What is you have videos? You've put videos together. You and I started emailing about this a couple years ago. I think even before you were chairman. I think.
Oh yeah, we were talking then,
and you've been chairman what, about 2-3 years?
A little over 2 years.
Yeah. So what is your obsession with this? Why do you like it so much?
Well, for the same reason I think we all did.
Yeah.
You know, we enjoyed watching him and trying to stay awake, and the whole thing with Bob, and it got to be about 2006, and I went out and searched for him on the web, and there was nothing. And it just broke my heart. You know, how can you let somebody like this just fade away, you know? And then I did a search for BobShreve.com, and to my surprise, it was open. So I registered that and, started my search from there to try to get the video and try to bring him back from the brink,
Right, and there's the website. I know John Keysweater wrote a story about you just about a month ago, didn't he?
He's written a few.
Yeah, who's a TV writer at the Inquirer. We just got about a minute in this segment, Howard, but I want to ask you, you talk about Bob Shreve. I mentioned some of these people in the open. I'm going to miss some, but Dick Von Hain, Bob Braun, Paul Dixon. I mean, Cincinnati has an amazing tradition for these live television icons that really, I think, is, we're one of the last local shows produced in this area, and it really is a different area, and it's a shame that it's not around anymore.
That's true.
Must have been something to be a part of that.
Well, I feel like I'm a part of history, even though I try to deny getting old.
Right.
But I feel like I'm part of history.
Yeah.
And to see some of the things that have happened and where things have evolved, you know, just very fascinating for me.
Yeah, I mean, you listen to David Letterman. He tells you that he grew up watching Paul Dixon, and that's one of his icons and one of the people that he patted himself after. We're going to take a break, come back, and talk some more about Bob Shreve, and please stick around. You're going to see some great clips. We'll be right back.
Brothers and sisters, mamas and daddies, it gives me great happiness to welcome y'all to the Past Prime Playhouse. We gather here weekly at the summit of Mount Auburn, and as you know, brothers and sisters, our message is big. We don't interpret them, we just ask that you believe what is happening. As you know, we need the support of each and every one of you, because without your help, our film crusade will be smitten by evil forces. We are pleased to welcome our regular weekly supporters, Watson's Pool City and La Rosa's Restaurant. And tonight we gather a new lamb from the wilderness, which we will clench tightly to our bosom, as we know you will. Hemsab, Sound Setters. So sit back, reach out, and absorb some of the finest motion pictures your eyes will ever see. Your guide is a man who knows the way, who sees the light, who blazes a trail, who will lead you down the road to everlasting mediocrity. Say hallelujah for Brother Bob Shreve. Brothers and sisters, reach out with me, and feel the vibrations emanating from your TV set, and say hallelujah for the Past Prime Playhouse.
That was Larry Holt. Larry, that was your voice? That was a classic. I used to quote that all. Smitten by, what was it? Smitten by
evil forces.
Smitten by evil forces.
I believe
That's
most
great.
of that we sort of made up that day. Well, a lot of that stuff was just Friday afternoon, what do you think we ought to do type thing. And
That's great.
hard to believe that it's still floating around after all these years. It's kind of embarrassing.
Well, not quite as embarrassing as sitting with a doll on your lap. I'm just kidding.
That's
Howard,
true.
we got to explain. I should have done this in the first segment. What do you got to explain these props?
Well, these are props that Bob Shreve used. This was the little baby here.
Right.
Baby doll.
And her name was Baby Doll.
Right.
We had Chicky.
Right.
And Chicky used to get stretched.
Right.
And Piggy.
Right.
Piggy. And Piggy just had a ball just being stretched out as well.
Right. And we of course we can't forget Guerrero and Spidell and who else, Jeff?
Oh, later on you had Ganoria.
Right. I think do we have some, are those promos ready, Eric? No, not ready yet. They're going to queue up those promos. So, Jeff, did you put together these? Okay, we're ready for them. Sorry about that. We'll come back to you in a minute, Jeff. Let's take a look at these promos. The guys in the booth have strung. I think you helped them with.
Past Prime.
The Past Prime Playhouse happens every Saturday night, all night on TV 12, and contains the finest in quality motion pictures that Tri-State viewers have come to expect from the Playhouse.
Why did you watch that show? Because it is his show. The only show with cut. Past Prime.
It took the PPP to bring you good taste in movies, from night till light.
Now, that is a very touching scene. However, that is not one of the flicks you're going to see on the Past Prime Playhouse this week. No, no. Friends, would you join us this week here on the Past Prime Playhouse on TV 12 for two fine moon pictures? The first one, That Certain Feeling with Bob Hope and Eva Marie Saint. And our second flick is a thing called Stage to Thunder Rock with Barry Sullivan. Join us here on TV 12 this week, Past Prime Playhouse, for two fine moon pictures that will really blow your mind. Wow.
This man wants to spend the night with you Saturday. Bob Shreve and the entire Past Prime team with the urge. The urge to bring you the finest all-night movie viewing, bar none, in the tri-state. Tiny portable cameras? No way. We use the big jobbies. 1, 2, 3. Count them, 3 big killer cameras. Think about it, people. That's 3 times as live at $85,000 apiece. That's a lot of bucks, baby, and that's what we call a total commitment. Live? Sure. But we don't go on location to catch little kids waving at Aunt Martha. We bring you the action live from our studio. So get the urge to watch the Past Prime Playhouse. It only happens once every 7 days.
All right. Jeff, now are those promos, are those on some of the DVDs that you've put together?
They're on DVDs I'm going to be putting together. The ones that I've got put together now are just shows.
Just shows. And how do people get those off the website?
They can just send an email to the website, right? They can give me a call at Star, and we'll work it out. We're already shipping these.
Yeah.
People can pick them up at the store. I don't have any in stock yet, so I'm not going to have any until the end of next week if people stop by, but if they want to pick them up. But yeah, we've been shipping them and doing all that
That's
already.
because you're in the middle of your constable campaign, right?
Yeah.
You're running for Campbell County Constable. He's very active in politics. And Larry, that was you in the cowboy scene as well, right? With the big hat on?
And the big hat. I don't have the hat anymore. And I'm just glad that you explained the whole baby doll thing with Howard here, because it was getting to be odd sitting next to a grown man with a baby doll. Actually, I had to have a meeting once with Bob when later I was sales manager, and we had to have a meeting because he was no longer allowed to knock baby doll's head off.
Why? Because there was people complaining?
Because people said it was promoted violence against children or whatever. I just remember thinking, I have a college degree, and this is the big meeting of the day for me.
Right.
Knock baby doll's head off anymore.
You can't do that anymore. Well, no one cared about the rubber chickens. Now, is that the actual baby doll? It looks kind of the same. No, it's not.
It's not the one from the show, but it's exactly like the one from the show.
Larry, Howard, are there any memorabilia left, you know, from the show? Does anybody have any of this stuff?
There are things that are around that people we haven't contacted, but we're hoping to see that we can get them and they can contact Jeff and let him get the stuff that he needs and continue on with the show.
All right, we're going to take a break, come back, talk some more about Bob Shreve. Stay tuned. You don't want to miss it.
Tiki-taki thing, boy, you have to ad-lib it. Shane-ling, my choice for purity. I've tried the rest, and Shane-ling's best. It's Shane-ling beer for me.
You're a bitter, Jeff?
Thank you very much, Charles.
Shane-ling beer, another great Cincinnati name. Shane-ling, Burger, Wiedemann, Udipol. Burger set our bar up. And that's all we sold because they set our bar up. And one time there was a fight in there, and somebody said, "Who the hell owns this place? Wade Hoyt?" Because remember Wade Hoyt was always talking about Burger. That's another great Cincinnati name. Now, what was that show, Jeff? That wasn't Past Prime Playhouse.
That was the All Night Theater.
On Channel 9?
That was Channel 9. That was 1965 to 1975. All right. So it was a 10-year stretch, and then the PPP was a 10-year stretch.
And that was 1970. And we were talking off camera. If people have videos, you're looking for clips?
Absolutely. Looking for any kind of Bob Shreve stuff, because the overall goal is to eventually archive this stuff.
Right.
You know, a lot of the tape that I've already gotten was deteriorating, and you put it through the computer and straighten it out. But that stuff's going to go away, and I'd really like to archive it and get it to the Cincinnati Historical Society and some of these other places that we can make sure that it's going to be around long after we're gone.
Right. And you saw a guy doing a TV show from a bar with beer right on. I mean, like knocking a baby's head off. But you couldn't get away with. You could do things back then, not get away with, but you could do things back then in the name of humor that you can never get away with now. And Larry, I think that's kind of a shame that we're that sensitive that you can't do that kind of stuff.
Well, there's a lot of things that you can do, I guess, on cable now. But back then there were a lot of things that you couldn't do. So you were restricted. In some ways, it made it funnier because you had to fill in the blanks yourself.
Yeah.
You know, you forget that Bob was the only game in town at 1:30 in the morning.
Yeah, that's right.
When I was in sales, we had no ratings to sell for Bob. And one opened, we mentioned Hemseth Sound Centers, and they had to start opening on Sundays because of the people calling in about it. That was how we knew people were watching the show.
Yeah, my son and I were watching the show, and the characters were watching TV, and it was the national anthem and then snow. Because remember, that's how you used to do it. All right, we have some more promos. Eric's giving me the high sign.
Join us Saturday night here on TV 12, Past Prime Playhouse. We've got two long movies. The first one is called The Long, Long Trailer, starring Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz, story about newlyweds who start out on a honeymoon. Anything that can happen will happen in The Long, Long Trailer. Then the second is The Four Clowns, starring my old friends Laurel and Hardy, Charlie Chase, and Buster Keaton. That's here on The Long, Long Past Prime Playhouse Saturday night. Take it easy, Charlie. See you then. Action-packed flicks on the Saturday night Past Prime Playhouse here on TV 12. The first one, The Devil's Angels, story about a motorcycle club that sweeps into town like a devastating plague. And the second one, The Fireball 500 with Frankie Avalon, story all about stock car racing. Join us Saturday night Past Prime Playhouse. Put it up a little. Trust me, honey, the flicks that we have on TV 12 here Saturday night are a real treat. Starting at 11:30 on The Late Show, The Spy Who Came In from the Cold, starring Richard Burton, right? Then on the Past Prime Playhouse, two fine moon pictures, Who Killed a Mysterious Mr. Foster and The Son of El Cid. Now, I know you work hard down there at the trucking company, but when you get off your shift at 2 o'clock, why don't you come on down and join me, kick off the shoes, and we'll sit here and watch together, okay?
They're a real treat, but you can't buy them.
How long would you guys rehearse? I mean, Howard, would you guys rehearse?
There were no rehearsals. It was all live.
Just go do it?
That's
Did you
right.
sit and write? Was there a writing session, or how much time would you put in the prep?
You know, Ray Tipton had a lot of bright ideas, and he'd go over it with the people before the show.
Yeah.
Maybe even Friday, and then all of a sudden, it just comes to order because everything just started working.
So Channel 12 is still up in Mount Auburn, same
Yes.
place, right? And who was Clooney around then, or who were the anchors?
Nick was, I think some of this even predates when Nick was on the air as an anchor, but Nick had his own show.
Okay, yeah, right.
During the day. Glenn Ryle was his announcer, and we had a live band. Like Howard said, it was the last gasp of live television. We were live all day long. We had live Nick, we had live bowling show every night of the week.
Oh yeah,
we
Bowling
had
for Dollars.
Bowling for Dollars.
Loved Bowling for Dollars.
And we had the news. We had Nick hosted an afternoon movie.
Right.
And it was all live. It was great.
We were even doing the 3-hour news, 2-hour newscast.
Yeah.
Right.
And when they started that, it just been like, oh, we got too much work to do.
Right. And I've got another clip. All right, let's see the clip. We got something coming up here, Jeff.
Yes, I just did, but I will again. Thank you very much. Okay. All right. I have to make the announcement again, and I hate to keep, coming on with this, but we're getting so many calls Sunday morning and Sunday afternoon that people want to talk to someone on the Past Prime Playhouse. And again, we sign off at 6, ladies and gentlemen, and boys and girls. At 6 o'clock, the Past Prime Playhouse goes off of the air until next night. So please don't call during the day. I don't want to get any more nasty remarks from the guys in the newsroom, right? 6 o'clock, night. See you next week, okay? You're beautiful. I love you.
Bubba, I think you're in for a couple of real big surprises tonight.
Oh, really? Well, can you give me a... Somebody at the door. Yes, I got it. I got it. But I don't, after that thing, I'm...
Bubba, before you answer that door, I want you to get a hold of yourself.
All righty. You never know what you do. Okay, well. Come in. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, isn't that lovely? I would like for all of you...
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, yes, Shirley, I know what I mean. Stella, walk this way.
I can't believe it.
Well,
I want him to know I got this way eating daily donuts, too.
Oh, really? I must
Really?
pass that word to Paul Palazzolo. He would love...
Morgana.
Yep.
Love Morgana. I mean, you guys don't remember Morgana. She was called the Kissing Bandit. She was a stripper, and the Kissing Bandit, she would run on baseball fields. She kissed Pete Rose and some other ball players. That's a great. Were you guys there that night?
I wasn't there, but I was the guy who introduced her.
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah. That was your voice, yeah. That's another great piece of Cincinnati lore. What year was that from, Jeff?
Don't have a clue. That was mid-'70s, but I don't know the year.
That was just great. What was she, a nice lady?
Yeah, she was a nice lady, yeah.
I know that a buddy of mine, Terry Flynn, knew her and said that, I don't know, I was always a big fan, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, we all were.
Right, yeah. I used to love the voices that would come in. And Larry, you did some of those voices. The timing on those, pardon me, the timing on those is just great comedy. Bill Cunningham does that every day between 2:30 and 3, and it's really good comedy, and I think he probably picked it up from Bob Shreve. Did you guys pattern your show after anything? Did you guys look at anywhere, or did you just kind of run with it? Right.
There may have been a plan somewhere, and maybe Ray's head or something, but I never detected any real plan. We were just making things up, and he'd ask me can I do a pirate, can I do a hillbilly or whatever, and I'd do it, and I would say something, and then here we are 35 years later, still looking at it on TV. It's kind of hard to believe.
It really is. It really is.
One of the things that was interesting to know that all the tracks, the audio man didn't have a clue what to do. He just ran tracks at his will. So it was all ad-lib.
That's great. All right, we're going to take a break, come back. Stick around, you guys, for the end. We'll be right back to wrap up this tribute to Bob Shreve. We were talking about other Cincinnati TV. We forgot, of course, Glenn Ryle, who was a weatherman in the 70s and 80s, but was also Skipper Ryle on the kids show, and Uncle Al. And Bob Shreve was on Uncle Al, you said, Jeff?
He was.
What,
he was a robot.
He played a robot?
Yeah.
And Bill, or Howard, I'm sorry, you, I know Bill Martin. I keep wanting to call you Bill Martin. Howard, you ran cameras on those shows?
I ran camera, I ran switcher, and sometimes I just supervise.
Yeah. And Larry, when did you start in television in Cincinnati?
I started in television in 74, 75. I was an engineer with Howard, and then I moved into directing and then in sales.
And now you run your own production company? Video?
Yeah, advertising and video production.
All right. Larry Holt, Howard Martin, Howard E. Martin Jr., Chicky, Piggy, the baby, Jeff Kidwell, thanks a lot for coming on, buddy.
Thanks for having us.
I know you, tomorrow night at the 4th District Lincoln Reagan Day dinner, there's going to be a tribute to Senator Bunning.
Yep.
And what'd you do for it? Something special?
Yeah.
People will see tomorrow, and so I know that'll be a big night for you. So thanks a lot for coming on. Guys, thanks a lot. Brought back a part of my growing up today, so I really appreciate that.
Good.
Thanks, everybody in the crew. We'll see you. Nancy will be back Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody.